This video contains spoilers for the featured film. All images used belong to their respective copyright owners and are used here for commentary and criticism purposes only. Please remember that statements made are my own opinion and you are free to disagree in the comments, but please do so respectfully. Hey there, Alley Cats, and welcome back to Movie Monday. Today we're going to be reviewing and discussing the live-action remake of a Disney animated classic, Aladdin. Now, as your local Disney fanatic, I of course can't help but have a preference for the animated films and be very critical of these live-action remakes. I do certainly enjoy seeing these classics being brought to life, but oftentimes they only really succeed in tarnishing the originals and simply don't hold up, but we'll see if the same is true for Aladdin. If you'd like to skip the plot overview and get right to my thoughts on this movie, you can skip to this timestamp in the video. So with that said, let's get right into it. The basic plot follows mostly the same as the animated film, however, there are many changes throughout. We're first greeted by a mariner, who is clearly Genie in his human form, telling his children the story of Aladdin. Yes, the Genie has kids. We'll touch more on this nonsense later. We also very briefly see Jafar, vizier to the Sultan, attempting to send a man into the Cave of Wonders, but the man is killed, as he is not the diamond in the rough, the only person permitted to enter the cave. During our introduction to Aladdin at the market, we already meet Jasmine, disguised and pretending to be a handmaid from the palace. Aladdin rescues her after she takes food from a stall to give to some hungry children and doesn't pay for it, an event that normally doesn't occur until later in the animated film, and they both run from the guards. They start to bond, but Jasmine sees a suitor on his way to the palace to court the princess, so as the princess, she is expected to be there, so she leaves in a hurry. But she's missing her dead mother's bracelet and presumes Aladdin stole it. He retrieves it from his pet monkey Abu and later sneaks into the palace to return it to her and promises to visit the next day, but he is captured by Jafar, who believes him to be the diamond in the rough. Jafar informs him of Jasmine's true identity and offers to free him and give him enough money to impress the princess if he enters the Cave of Wonders and brings the lamp that is inside. Aladdin enters the cave with orders not to touch any treasure and only take the lamp, but they do find a magic carpet, which apparently isn't breaking the rules, but okay. But just as Aladdin gets the lamp, Abu picks up a ruby, which causes the cave to start to collapse. The magic carpet helps them reach the cave's entrance, but once Aladdin hands over the lamp to Jafar, he is thrown back into the cave along with Abu, who manages to steal the lamp back before the cave is sealed shut. Now trapped inside the cave, Aladdin rubs the lamp and a genie emerges, stating that he will grant him 3 wishes. Aladdin tricks Genie into getting all of them out of the cave without using a wish, and while contemplating his first wish, Aladdin asks Genie what he would wish for, to which Genie says he would wish for his freedom from serving those who rub the lamp. Aladdin promises to use his 3rd wish to free Genie and tells him for his first wish, he wants to become a prince to allow him to be with Jasmine, as the law states she can only marry a prince. Genie transforms him into Prince Ali of Ababwa, and they make their grand entrance back to Agrabah. Jasmine, not recognizing Aladdin as a prince, is unimpressed with him, and her opinion remains the same later at a party after they dance together and he attempts to show off. Later, Genie distracts Jasmine's handmaiden Dahlia with a date, and Aladdin takes Jasmine on a ride on the magic carpet. Jasmine figures out he is the person she met before in the market, but Aladdin insists he is really a prince and only pretended to be a peasant. Jafar also discovers Aladdin's true identity and ties him up and throws him out a tower window into the sea when he refuses to give up the lamp. Abu and the carpet see this and quickly toss the lamp into the ocean with him so he can get help from the genie, but he falls unconscious before he can make a wish. Genie bends the rules to save Aladdin's life in exchange for a wish, and they go to Jasmine to inform her of what happened, and Jafar is arrested. The Sultan approves of Aladdin's relationship with Jasmine and says Aladdin will become heir to the Sultan, which causes him to fear what will happen if the truth about him were to come to light, so he breaks his promise to the genie and refuses to set him free. Meanwhile, Jafar's parrot Iago steals the dungeon key and Jafar is freed, so he steals the lamp and becomes Genie's new master. He first wishes to become Sultan, but when the guards defy his orders, he then wishes to become the world's most powerful sorcerer and sends Aladdin to a frozen wasteland in order to die. He also threatens the Sultan and Dahlia unless Jasmine marries him, which she reluctantly reluctantly agrees to. Aladdin is saved by the magic carpet and they return to Agrabah just in time to stop the wedding, though Jafar is still too powerful for them. But Aladdin, knowing Jafar's hatred of being second best, taunts him, saying he isn't as powerful as the genie. So Jafar uses his third wish to become a genie as well, not realizing it would mean he would also be bound to a lamp and he becomes trapped inside his own lamp. Agrabah returns to normal and Genie insists on Aladdin using his wish to turn himself back into a prince or erase that particular law so he can be with Jasmine. Instead, Aladdin fulfills his promise and frees Genie, turning him into a normal human. The Sultan realizes the love Jasmine and Aladdin have for each other, so he makes Jasmine the Sultan and allows her to change the law so she can marry who she chooses. Aladdin and Jasmine are married, and Genie and Dahlia also get married and travel the world with their 2 children. There were a lot of changes made from the original animated film to the live-action version, and it may be a little unfair to directly compare the two, but none of these changes were good in any way. From the very start, when Jasmine is brought into the movie so early, it ruins the entire beginning. In the original, she leaves later after we see how much she struggles with being trapped inside the palace, so she runs away intending to never return and has to be brought back by force. However, in this version, she's apparently just out for a stroll and goes right back to the palace willingly to meet her next ridiculous suitor. I understand this was probably done to give Aladdin and Jasmine more chances to interact, but this completely derails other parts of the plot and Jasmine's character. And now she doesn't even hate the marriage law because she wants to marry someone for love. She instead wants to become sultan and gain that power for herself. It's nice she cares about the people and all, but it's just an unnecessary character change. The writers also, for some reason, decided to include a tragic backstory about her mother being killed, which is just a cheap trick to tug at the audience's heartstrings and make us feel even more sympathetic for Jasmine, but they don't explain it or give any details. It's only said that she was killed and it wasn't by the people of Agrabah, and that's why the Sultan then forbade Jasmine from leaving the palace. But this doesn't make any sense if we don't have any more explanation than that, because it just makes the Sultan look like a super overprotective father with exactly zero reasoning. Also, the fact that Aladdin says no one has seen the princess in years is massively contradicted later by the new party scene with tons of people, which seems weird that if no one has seen Jasmine for so long and she's been stuck inside the palace with very little social interaction, this whole party should have been a much bigger deal for everyone, but nah, people just act completely normal like it's an average event. Speaking of terrible character changes, they mutilated my man Jafar. He is absolutely not a good villain here because instead of being menacing and scary like he is in the animated film, here he's just a whiny little bitch baby throwing temper tantrums all the time. His character is completely ruined. Even Aladdin himself has been watered down and he's no longer as confident and charismatic, and his demeanor just comes off more as awkward and unsure of himself. One character I did actually like was, surprisingly, the genie. I was very hesitant when I learned Will Smith was being cast in the role, even more so as we got to see new footage and previews come out. And of course, no one would ever be able to come close to the outstanding performance of Robin Williams in the animated film, but I actually did really like Will Smith's portrayal in this movie, especially because he didn't try to copy anything and instead made his own version of the character. While it does lose some of the charm the original genie had thanks to Robin Williams being able to do amazing impressions and improvisations, it is very reminiscent of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which works really well in this movie. Though what I do absolutely hate is that freeing Genie at the end makes him lose his powers and he becomes human instead of just being able to go off and use his magic however he wants. This is only done so the very forced romance between Genie and Dahlia can be completed, so I wish they had just gone that route of the animated movie and just let him keep his powers. On the topic of music scenes, it usually didn't go very well. During the song One Jump, when we first meet Aladdin, and in this case Jasmine as well, some of the lyrics were randomly changed for seemingly no reason, and the cinematography was so butchered because the scene alternated from from shots that were really slowed down, which made for painful viewing during such a fast-paced song, to shots that were the complete opposite and unnecessarily sped up. It was very frustrating and annoying to watch and just left me with a headache. The song Prince Ali, another that's supposed to be very upbeat and amazing to introduce Aladdin's new fantastical persona, was far too slow and lacking energy and just wasn't as fun to watch as it should have been. Jasmine also gets her own new song, which does not fit in with the movie or other songs at all because it just sounds like a typical top 40 emotional pop song that was likely only created so Naomi Scott could have her solo moment. Even A Whole New World wasn't as spectacular as I expected, and the only song I had no issues with was Friend Like Me, Genie's introduction song, which is unfortunate because the animated film had some very iconic songs, and just like the rest of this movie, only made me want to watch that version more. A lot of filmmakers for these Disney live-action remakes seem to be under the impression that they need to change things in the story and put their own twist on it. They forget just what made these classic movies so wonderful in the first place. Honestly, I would have been fine if they kept the plot, the songs, everything the exact same from the animated film. The whole point of these live-action movies should be to bring the wonderful worlds we've seen in cartoon form to life, not to make their own lesser version of it. Especially for this particular movie, Aladdin was always one of my favorites and to this day is still one of the best Disney movies ever created, so it does not deserve to be butchered and used as an effortless cash grab. So, how to fix it? Follow the story. Stick to the source material. Perhaps expand on some minor points so it's not an exact copy, like explore the backstory to why Jasmine's mother is no longer around, or spend some time with other characters. But do it well, and don't go so crazy with it that it throws off other events in the film. That is all that needs to be done. It's very simple, so I don't know why so many people keep failing with it. If the filmmakers had gone that route, this could have been a spectacular movie for all ages, but since they didn't, I unfortunately have to give Aladdin my personal rating of 4 out of 10, as painful as it is to say that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you have any suggestions for movies I should discuss and review in the future. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you have not already, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye!